Welcome aboard, shipmates. You just dropped anchor at Scuttlebutt Vet. I'm Paul. Today we're here to talk about real strategies from a vet just like yourself. Not theory, but lessons learned from being in the trenches with the VA claim system. I've had to battle for every step of my rating, and I'm here to pass on what I've learned so you can fight smarter, not harder. When I first filed, I didn't know what I was doing. No roadmap, no checklist, just a stack of medical records and the hope the VA would do the right thing. That first rating came back 10% for tinnitus. I was relieved at first. I thought, finally, they see me. But 10% for tinnitus is basically crumbs. That's the lowest entry point you can get. And I didn't realize it at the time, but that's how the VA operates. They give you the smallest recognition possible. And a lot of vets just stop right there. They cash that first check, never push further. For me, that 10% wasn't the end. It was the warning shot over the bow, the proof this was going to be a long fight. As time went on, more of my conditions came to surface, things that I've been living with from the years of service: balance problems, sleep issues, migraines, mental health struggles. But here's the thing nobody tells you: the VA isn't going to connect those things. They're not going to connect the dots. They'll never say, hey, looks like this is tied to your service. No, you've got to figure it out. You've got to prove it yourself, and you've got to shove the evidence right underneath their nose. You have to spoon feed the VA. I remember sitting there frustrated thinking, why am I the one who has to prove this? Didn't I already prove when I raised my right hand and served the government and served this country? Nope. And that's when I realized again, this wasn't just going to be a claim. It was going to be a fight. I was fighting again. My turning point came when I finally understood the game, though. The VA doesn't care about your story unless it's framed in their language. And that's when I discovered a few things like Nexus letters and buddy statements. I didn't even know they existed at first. And that magic phrase, it's as least as likely as not. That was like uncovering the cheat code. See, without those exact words, the VA can toss your evidence straight in the trash. It doesn't matter if you have a doctor backing you. It doesn't matter if you have a buddy actually see what happened to you. If it's not in the format that the VA recognizes, it may as well not exist. But that's when it clicked. The VA isn't handing us a playbook. I had to build my own playbook, one rule at a time. And even when you do everything right, the VA has another trick. They'll admit you have that condition, and then they rate it 0%. Yep, that's happened to me several times. They said, yes, that's service connected, but then they wrote down 0%. Meanwhile, I was currently in treatment for those issues. I was dealing with the symptoms that impacted my work, my daily life. But you know what the VA said? It doesn't affect your employment. And they just brushed it aside. You see, that's their game. Admit it exists, but avoid paying for it. And that's why your appeals matter, your supplemental statements, they all matter. That's why documentation matters. Every statement, every doctor visit, every detail. Because without it, they'll lowball you every single time. I can't tell you how many times I've had to go back, request a higher level review, or file another supplemental claim. Not because I was wrong, but because the VA ignored the evidence that was right in front of them. My journey didn't end with tinnitus. That was just the baseline. But since then, it's been a win after a fight after a win, step by step, appeal by appeal. And here's the truth: every increase, every recognition came down to three things: keeping records, staying consistent, and never taking the first no as a final answer. The VA counts on veterans getting tired. They count on you giving up. But you can't, because this isn't a sprint, it's a long game. Here's the mindset shift that kept me going. That 10%, you might have that today, but that's not the finish line. That's the start line, and the fight will continue from there. Currently, so far, I'm up to 90%, and I have a higher level review right now that could push me over 100% with my hearing. That's right. I have very bad hearing, and yet they gave me a 10%. So look, I started at 10% for tinnitus, and I've had to battle every step of the way. The VA doesn't make it easy, but it is possible. Document everything. Fight every step. And most importantly, don't fight it alone. Drop a comment below that says, "Send me the checklist," and I'll send you that exact 5-step claim checklist that I've built through the years of fighting this system. It's free. And it'll give you a roadmap that I wish I had when I started. And if you want, there'll be a link down there to buy me a cup of coffee. But no pressure. Please. What I do ask is that you subscribe to Scuttlebutt Vet for more real strategies for someone who's in the fight, just like you are. And share this with your shipmates. Because the more of us know about the system, the stronger we are. Bravo Zulu, shipmate. I've got your 6.